I'm here with Mr. Cliff today, and he has another story for us. Cliff, do I have your permission to
Absolutely. Yes.
record this? I'm going to record this for YouTube, and Duncan is present, and he is ready to hear your story whenever you are.
Okay. Title of my story today is Cutesy-ness, Singing, Praying, and the Shortest Rainfall. I am the youngest of six kids. The three oldest were sisters, and the next two were older brothers named Huck and Tom. My oldest sister is 18 years older than me, and there's 3 or 4 years between each of the rest of us. My pop was over 42 years old, and my mama was pushing 40 when I was born. During the first year of my life, I was my older sister's favorite show and tell project. They took me to school and would tell all their friends, "Can you believe what my parents are still doing?" If cute was the criteria, my sisters thought I was the pick of the litter of the boys. As soon as I was old enough to talk, my sisters decided that I would be even cuter if I learned a song that I could sing over the phone or to their friends at school. Here's the first song I ever sang. I'll take a leg from some old table. I'll take an arm from some old chair. I'll take a neck from some old bottle. And from a horse, I'll take some hair. I'll take some hair, and then I'll put them all together with a bit of wire and glue. And I'll get more loving from that dear old dummy than I ever got from you. Get out and walk. Not long after I was born, I think uh, Mama could feel menopause creeping through her body and became her link back to youth and fertility. As my thick, beautiful, natural blonde and curly hair got longer, my mama refused to have my hair cut. I think that I was over 3 years old before my sisters insisted that strangers were mistaking me for a little girl and took me to have my hair cut. Mama stayed home and cried and saved a sample ringlet of my hair in the family Bible. That haircut was a turning point in my life. As they lead me to the barber, I was at the height, excuse me, of my cuteness. After the haircut, I became a fair game for brothers Huck and Tom, who thought that cutesiness and wimpiness and wussiness were all the same thing. They took it as their personal goal in life that in the following years they would take all the cutesiness out of me. I stand in front of you as living proof that they succeeded. I was raised in a two-family house. We lived upstairs, and my Auntie Ida and Uncle Andy lived downstairs. Everyone came in through the back door because the front door opened to a hallway which led into a downstairs bedroom. My parents' upstairs bedroom and were down or down into the cellar. Those were other options. There was only one bathroom upstairs, and it was off the living room. And you had to go from the living room and through my parents' bedroom to get to the large front bedroom. By the time I was about 3 years old, we three boys had the front bedroom with brothers Huck and Tom in the big bed together and me in the little bed. One night when I was about 5 and we were all supposed to be sleeping, Huck and Tom were having a rowdy good time in their bed, telling jokes and stories, and they were laughing loudly, and I was joining in the laughter. Ha ha ha, that's really funny. Tell us some more. Huck, my pop, had to work hard to provide for 6 kids. He was a carpenter and he worked 5.5 to 6 days a week. And he raised a big garden, and he had about 100 chickens on the site. For all us kids, his rules were very simple: obey mama, and if we didn't, he would show us why we should have. That meant that we went to bed when told to and went to sleep as soon as possible thereafter, so Pop would get a good night's sleep and not be disturbed. That night, when Huck and Tom had decided to become comedians, Pop got up twice. Once to say, "Don't make me come in there again," and the second one to show us why I was not a good thing to make Pop get out of bed a second time. My older brothers were of the age where they were starting to get into the macho thing of big boys don't cry, especially in front of their baby brother. Well, they did cry. It involved becoming a big boy. I was going to stay a little kid as long as I could. I started crying before Pop was even finished with the first of my two brothers. And as his wails reached up to the heavens, I began to cry and pray and sing. "Oh Lord, didn't you deliver Daniel in the lion's den? And so delivered Jonah from the belly of the whale, and then the Hebrew children from the fiery furnace of the good book does declare. Now, Lord, won't you please help me and take my life somewhere Pop will spare." When Pop finally reached me, he saw that I was properly repentant. So he just tapped me a couple of times on the butt. I was total failure in my brother's eyes, but I came away convinced of the power of prayer and that it's sometimes better to plead for mercy today so you can get to live, laugh, and play tomorrow. As Huck and Tom got to be teenagers, they started coming to bed after Mama and Pop went to bed, sometimes quite a bit after they had gone to bed. They now knew better than to disturb Pop's sleep, so little things like brushing their teeth, washing their face, or going to the bathroom, which would have all cause noise, was frequently bypassed. Teeth and face were a total non essential, but nature call would sometimes not wait until the morning. So over the years, I woke up occasionally and watched in the moonlight as either Huck or Tom peed out the bedroom window. This was from the second floor front bedroom window, which looked out onto the front porch roof. I think because they were teenagers and they allowed the pressure to build up to 1,000 pounds per square inch, the stream would reach the roof and quietly land on the bush directly below. They never got caught. In fact, to this day, my brother Tom insists that my aunt and uncle were never able to figure out why, regardless of what shrub got planted there, it always died. That spot came to be known as the Brunt Earth spot in my uncle's garden. One night it was dark outside and I was lying in bed, and neither of my brothers had yet come to bed. I began to feel the pressure building up, and I didn't want to go out from Mama and Pop's bedroom to get to the bathroom when the alternative facilities were right there waiting at the window. I succumbed to the temptation, and because I hadn't allowed the pressure to build up in my like my brothers, the stream fell short and landed on the roof of the porch, sounding rather melodious, I thought, like an early spring rain. I felt good for a variety of reasons. I was like my older brothers, it sounded sweet, and I was saving a trip to the bathroom. But That good feeling lasted only a couple of seconds until I heard my Auntie Ida say, "Andrew, I think it's starting to rain." It was the shortest rainfall ever recorded. You know you can hurt yourself trying to stop midstream. It's like breaking the laws of nature. But I did it, and as I crept back into bed, I knew this was not the last I would hear of this rain shower. There were no secrets between downstairs and upstairs in our house. My Auntie Ida and my mom were like sisters. They visited at least 2 times every day, morning and afternoon, for coffee and coffee cake. So as I lay there that night, I knew that Auntie Ida was going to tell Mama. I knew by coffee cake time, Mama would know. I schemed and plotted in my mind as to how I was going to explain the shortest rainfall on record. I stayed up in a good bit of the night trying to fabricate a plausible lie. I finally thought about the water pistol in my drawer and concluded it might work. It was blue plastic job, built for limited shots, but more volume per shot. Mama came in and woke me that next morning and announced that Auntie Ida had said I had peed out the window last night. And Mama did not understand why I would do such a thing. I lied and said, "I didn't do that. I shot my water pistol out the window in the dark." My mama said, "Oh, let me see how that works." I walked like a condemned convict into the bathroom and filled the water pistol and prayed that this would work. God does not answer all the prayers of sinners. As compared to the Andrew, I think it's starting to rain sound of the previous night, the water pistol stream arced weakly out the window and seemed to land without a sound on the roof. My mama said, "That doesn't sound like the rain that Auntie Ida described." I lied some more as I tried feebly to make up some on the fly. My mom stood there for what seemed like hours, hoping that I'd admit the truth or at least come up with something believable that she could tell Auntie Ida. I never came up with anything. Mama didn't get mad. She just seemed really sad and finally turned and walked out of the bedroom. I don't think Mama ever mentioned this to Pop because he never said a thing. I don't think that I would remember that night any more vividly if he had whipped me with a belt. I certainly won't claim that I have never told another lie since the night of the shortest rainfall, but most of the time when tempted with the lie, it is as if I can see my mama waiting and hoping that I will tell the truth, even if the truth means admitting that I have done something really dumb.